My goodness, this is so complicated. Hey guys, long time no see. I suck, basically. First of all, I want to say thank you to all my subscribers. Thank you so much, I really appreciate it. Today, I'm gonna be telling you about my pregnancy story. I look like I can't turn my head. I've gotten a lot of requests for this because there's people who honestly are going through the same thing. They just want tips and pointers and they just want to know, I don't know, they just want to know. So I'm gonna provide for y'all. I look like I don't have a neck. I swear I have one, it's right there. All right, let's get this thing going. Okay, so here's how it all happened, okay? This summer, I was just living my best life. Like, it's summer, we're out of school, like no college, no work, like I'm about to just have the time of my life. I had a great summer, obviously. I'm not gonna say names for privacy reasons, but I started hanging out with this boy over the summer. I went to high school with him. We weren't really strangers, we weren't really like best friends either, but we used to date in like middle school, date. We've always just kind of like known one another and we were just like cool. We were like cool people. I was going out with some friends and I posted this picture on like every social media, like Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, Twitter, like all of it, because I was feeling myself. I was like, dang girl, you look good. It was one of those that you need to post on like all social media platforms to like really get the hype. It was one of those. So I posted this picture and he messaged me and was like, we haven't talked in forever, like you look good, all that stuff, like, you know, we should like catch up sometime soon, blah blah blah. And I was like, yeah, like we should, it's been like a long time, like why not, here's my number, let's catch up, we can hang out, whatever. I really wasn't looking for a relationship this summer. It just didn't really appeal to me and I just didn't see the need for one at the time. I remember being really reluctant to talk to him. It just really wasn't like a priority at the time. I don't know, I just didn't think anything about it. You know, like whatever, we were just catching up. He works out of town and so he just had said that whenever he came back that he would like to hang out with me. Nothing serious. I didn't think it was anything serious anyway. And so I was like, yeah, whatever. So he came back home for a couple of weeks and he had said that he wanted to hang out with me. So one night he came and picked me up and we just went and hung out. It was me, him, and one of his friends. The whole night he would kind of put me on the spot. He would be like, so wouldn't we be cute together, or what do you think? Like, just look at us, we'd be a cute couple, right? Like all this stuff. And I was just sitting there like I don't want to date. That is what I started the summer out with, saying like, I was like, I'm not dating, I don't want to, like it's gonna be a long time before I get serious with somebody. So he would say that and I would just kind of sit there like awkwardly laugh because like, what do I say? Well, that night before I got out of his truck, he said that he wanted to hang out the next day and like potentially like take me out and like all this stuff. And I just was like, we'll see. It was just a lot to handle for me at first and I just really wasn't looking for any of that at the time. So I was just kind of like, yeah, maybe. That next day we were messaging and he was like, so like, what about this date? Like, can I take you out on a date? And I was like, if you want to. I was just scared about it all. Like, I remember texting my friend and saying like, bro, like this is happening right now and I'm sketched, like I don't really know what to do. And like half of my friends were saying like, Kelsey, this is so good for you, like yes, you deserve it, just like keep an open mind. Like even my mom and my sister were like give him a chance, whatever. So we went to the mall and it was really weird because everybody was like, y'all are cute, like how long have y'all been together? And he'd be like, we've been together for blah blah years. I used to have the biggest crush on him in like 7th grade and we would just joke about that a lot. Like every time we would talk in the past, we'd be like, hey, remember that one time when we dated, you know? Like it's just kind of like whatever. It was like a running joke. So like I played along. I was like, yeah, we've been together for like so long. Like it was just kind of cool and casual and whatever. Well, we went out to eat. After we ate and we get back in my car, I had decided, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna like go with the flow. Like I'm not gonna say anything, we're just gonna like go with the flow. And he had already said that, like he had told his mom about me, and he was like, I'm so serious, like I think that this could be something, and like all of this stuff. And like I remember saying, like, why did you tell your mom about me? Like there's no point in it because we're not gonna date. Like I just was like, why do you want to date me? Like why? What's the point? The whole time. And so like he was like, well, my mom already knows about you, and I want to meet your mom, and that scared me. He's like, I want to meet your mom and I want to meet your family. And I was like, oh. I was like freaking out. The last person that met my family was my ex-boyfriend of close to 4 years. So like for me to bring someone else to meet my family is a huge deal, because I normally don't unless I know for a fact that I'm gonna be with them for a while. Anyway, I was just like, whatever, it's summer, I don't even care. Like, we're just gonna go with the flow. It got really serious really fast, and I remember messaging my friends about it, like, you know, like, hold up, like, hold up, back it up, we need to talk. We came to my house after our date. It wasn't a date, I don't know, it's so complicated. We came to my house, and he met my mom, and like half of my family was over here, which was like icing on the cake. It was great. If you come into my life and you meet my family and you meet my uncles, like that's a huge deal. And he met them all in one day, and I just remember being like, was on edge. Anyway, it was all good, and I took him home. He had messaged me and said that there was a party that night that he wanted to go to, and he was like, you should come with. And so I was like, yeah, whatever, I'll just, you know, go and hang out. And we went to this party and saw all of our friends there, and we were just kind of hanging out. It was like not a big deal, like we just hung out and went to this party together. At the party, everybody's just kind of like, oh, are they together? Like, what is this? I don't know. It put me in like a weird situation. And they're just like, are y'all a thing? Like, what is this? And I did not say, because I wasn't sure what we were. I'm calling it like a summer fling, basically. It was just like a summer fling. We were hanging out. We were just having fun. It got really late, and I took him home. I hung out with him and his sister's there at his house for like a little bit, and then I came home. And then that morning after, me and him were just talking, and he was like, I like you a lot, like I'm so for real, like I'm wanting to give this a go, all of this stuff. And I just was like, okay, I guess, like I don't really know what to do. We hung out for days consecutively. We hung out again the next day. He like came to my work and saw me, and we hung out after I got off work, and like we would just like watch movies at my, like it was just super casual and super fun, whatever. Well, then he had to go back to work, so he left. And I remember the night before he left, he had said that he wanted to see me before he went back to work for however long. And I was like, okay, yeah, whatever. And I had not heard from him like at all that day, and I was just kind of like, that's weird, considering like we had hung out for days and days on end. It had become a habit for him to come over here. Like we would just hang out, and my mom would constantly be like, hey, where's he at? He's not here, he's not coming, like what's going on? And so I was like, no, like, he's on his way. Like, that's how it was. But I didn't hear from him at all this day, and I was just like, that's weird. And I just am like the type of person that's like, communication is key. Like, all you have to do is say, hey, this is what's going on, this is why I haven't talked to you, or this is what's gonna happen, so I won't be around my phone, like, whatever, just tell me what's up. Like, I didn't get any of that. So I was just kind of like fed up, because I was like, wow, like, he had said all these things, and I was reluctant at first, and I decided that I wasn't gonna be, and like, this is the end result. Like, this is me. This is why I don't let my walls down, because this happens. He messaged me, but it was really late. He was just like, look, I'm sorry, this is what happened. And I was like, yeah, that's fine. But I, like, all day, I barely heard from him. And I was just kind of irritated at that, because I just was like, I felt like I'd been used, and that's like the main thing. I was just like, I don't want to be hurt, and I don't want to be used, and like, that's what this is coming off as. And so like, that night I just was like, wow, like, I was just mad. So like, he left to go back to work, and he had said that like, he wasn't sure if he wanted to do like long distance relationship, and it'd be best if we just didn't take it any further, just like left it at that. Like, all my friends were like so confused, because he had gone from being so invested in me to like, not at all. And honestly, I was kind of heartbroken. This was like a couple of weeks after. Me and my friend, we were watching like a movie, and I was just like, I think that I could be pregnant. Like, this is a very real possibility. And she was just like, I think that you're just freaking out for no reason. She was like, it's gonna be okay, like, whatever. And I was like, no, but like, what are we gonna do if I am? And she was just like, I just don't think you are. And like, I had told all of my friends that. I was like, I'm scared. And they're like, you're freaking out, you're overreacting. Well, the time of the month rolls around, and I missed the call. She didn't call me. And I waited like another week, nothing, still no call from Mother Nature. So then I went and I got a test, and then I went to my friend's work, because we had plans to hang out that night, and so I just went to her work. I walk in there and I had it, and I was like, hey, like, this is what's about to happen. And it's like, I'm about to go take a test, and I really hope that it comes back and I fail it. Like, I hope that it's a negative. I was very nonchalant about all of it, because I was just like, you know, like, whatever. I wasn't freaking out, which is really weird for me. Anyway, I took the test, and sure enough, it came back positive. And I just remember sitting there, and I just looked at it, and I was like, yeah, this is what I expected. I prepared myself for it to say this, like, whatever. So I opened the door, and I look, and I was like, all right, guess what it says? And she was like, negative. And I was like, it's positive. She's like, oh. And I was just like, no, it's fine, like, whatever. Immediately texted him, and I was like, or I Snapchatted him a picture, and I was like, this is happening. It came back positive, like, I'm pregnant. And he just was like, what are we gonna do? And I immediately was like, we're gonna have an abortion. That's what we're gonna do. So I'm not even worried about it. And he was like, are you serious? Like, you can't be serious right now. Like, there's no way you're gonna have an abortion. There's like, I'm not letting that happen. Like, no. Like, he like blew up. I was like, why wouldn't I have one? We're not together. You don't even want to be with me. I'm in college. I go to a Christian university. I'm in a sorority. My mom's gonna kill me. Like, all of these things, I was just like, why wouldn't I? You know, like, it's an easy fix. I was like, whatever. We can just put this all behind us. Doesn't even matter. So like, that night, I just like kind of forgot about it. I did not want to even talk about it with my friends. I just kind of hid the test. The day after, I woke up and I'm freaking out, and it just doesn't really feel real. And I texted my friend, and I was like, Okay, so now we need to deal with like now we need to talk about it. We need to deal with this. Like, what are we gonna do? Like, you're gonna have an abortion. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna have an abortion. Like, this is what's gonna happen. And I was like, so and so says I should do this, but what do you think I should do? And they would say the same thing, and they're like, we're in agreement. You should get an abortion. And I was like, okay, I should, shouldn't I? And I was so hesitant, but I just thought that that was the answer. Like, it was a quick fix, and I was like, whatever, I just need to do it. But I kept putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. And that whole entire day, I was like looking up like where I can go and how much it'll cost, and like if I needed to tell my mom, because I didn't want her to know. Like, I didn't want any family members to know. I just wanted like my very few friends to know, and that be done. Like, I just wanted to sweep it under the rug. And as time went on, like every day I just kind of like would wake up and be sad that I woke up. Like, I kind of went into this depressive state. I just kind of was like, went into this isolation, and it was really hard for me to like go to work and not cry, because once reality had set in, I was like, my life is over. I did not ever want to come home. I stayed out as late as I possibly could, and then once I came back, I went straight into my room. I barely talked to my mom. Like, this was a hard time for me that I did not want anyone to know except for my friends. Did not want her to know. And so every day I'm like, hey mom, I'm going out. Hey mom, I'm going over to blah blah blah's house. Like, I'm not gonna be here. And like, I was never home ever. And I know she was kind of suspicious about it, because like, I'm never home anyway, but the amount of times that I would go out and stay out all day and then come in really late at night, yeah, something was up. And I just didn't want to be home. I didn't want to be around her. I didn't want to be around anybody, like in my family, because I was just afraid that she would know instantly. So I just was like, I'm gonna avoid it. I ain't gonna be home. I remember working, and one of my best friends came in, and she came through my lawn, and she was like, hey girl, like, what's up? I missed you. Like, you look so good, blah, 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 blah. Like, she was just chatting away, and I just was sitting there, and I was like, yeah, like, hey. Like, I was really distant, and she was just kind of like, what's wrong with you? And I was like, nothing at all. And she was like, okay, well, call me after you get off work. We need to have a talk, because something's wrong and you're not telling me. I was like, okay, like, okay. I got off work, and I sat in my car, and I called her, and she was just like, so, like, what is wrong? And I just broke down, and I was like, I am pregnant. And she just kind of held the phone, and it was just silent, and I'm just like boo-hooing, like sobbing. And I was like, I don't know what to do. I was like, so-and-so says I should get an abortion, and like, I feel like I need to, but I don't know if I want to, but I feel like I have to. And she was just like, it's okay. We are gonna get through it. We had said that we would just kind of figure it out. The next day, I was like, well, I should probably tell like one of my family members. And I told my sister. My sister came home. I showed her the test, and she just kind of was like, and I cried, and I was like, I feel like I'm gonna have to do an abortion. That's not what I want to do, but I feel like that's what I have to do. I was just like, what do you think I should do? And she was like, well, I would help. She's like, you are gonna have help. And she's like, you're not alone. I was like, yeah, you're right, but I don't know if that's necessarily what I want to do. So this was just like mine and her secret. My mom still doesn't know. Like, no one really knows. Well, my friend, she we had prayed about it. Like, we were just like, don't make any decisions just yet. We're just gonna pray. And I had prayed, and I was like, God, this cannot be real. Like, this isn't, I don't know if this is in your plan, but it's not in my plan. So like, I don't know what to do. She calls me, and she's like, okay, we are gonna go to this clinic, and it's called Oasis. And I was like, okay. And she was like, we're gonna go there and they are gonna weigh out your options and they're gonna talk you through just to make sure that this is what you want to do. And I was like, okay. And so we had made an appointment. My mom doesn't know still. We went to this clinic and they had given me different options. They laid it out on the table and they talked to me about every single option, and they're like, why do you feel like this is the only thing that you have? And write down and tell me what you think is gonna happen with each of these and who's saying what, and like all this. Like, it was really helpful, and it looked at it at a holistic approach really, and it was great. And the woman that saw me, she was a Christian and I'm a Christian, and so she was like, I don't know how you feel. She was like, but can I just pray over you? And I was like, please, like, I need all the prayers that I can get right now. I'm freaking out. And so we prayed, and she was like, I think that you know what you want to do. She was like, you're listening to all these people telling you what you should do, but I know that's not what you want to. And I walked out of there and I felt really, really, really good, like really good. And so I remember getting in the car with my friend. She was like, okay, so what do you think? And I was like, all right, so I'm gonna keep the baby. And she just kind of like got teary-eyed, and so I was like, I'm gonna do it. We're just gonna do it. So I had to tell my mom, had to tell my family members, and so my mom was the last out of my whole entire family to know, or out of my immediate family to know, because that girl is terrifying. Like, she scares the living crap out of me. So I remember texting my uncle, and I was like, I need to talk to you soon, like one day, about something serious. And he was like, okay. He was like, well, you can come over after I'm off of work and we could talk about it. I went over to his house and I said, okay. I said, think of the worst thing that could happen right now. What is the worst thing that could happen to me? And he said, are you addicted to like meth or? And I was like, no. He's like, oh, well then, what is it? Like, and I was like, okay, well, you're right. Like, there's bigger problems in the world. And so I told him, and he just kind of gave me a hug, and he was like, well, it's okay. I'm gonna be here. He gave me a hug, and he said he loved me, and I was like, all right, bam, bam, turkey and ham. And I told my pawpaw, and he was like, you're gonna have to tie those roads up. And I told my grandmother, and she's like, I'm disappointed, but I love you. And like, hearing that someone's disappointed is like the worst possible feeling that you could ever feel in your whole entire life. Hearing that someone is disappointed in you, like, ooh, I'm about to cry just talking about it. And I was like, yeah, I feel like a failure. Like, this was not supposed to happen. And I'm the baby. Like, I have an older sister and she's not, you know, like, this isn't supposed to happen. So, telling my mom, I walked in the house and there was food, like she had cooked dinner. Like, I'm like, this is my last home cooked meal because I'm gonna get kicked out of the house. I'm not gonna have anywhere to live. Like, this is about to be fun. So I was just like, let me just go ahead and eat all I can before I'm living on the streets. And I had like a bag packed just in case she got really mad and like kicked me out. Like, I was prepared. I was like, I'm prepared for the worst. I texted everybody in my family and I said, I'm telling my mom today. I texted baby's father and I said, I'm telling my mom today. And he was like, good luck. Like, everybody was like on edge. Like, everybody was like, oh my gosh, this is about to be a disaster. And so I was like, yeah, just stay tuned because I might need somewhere to stay. My uncle came over and for support. I was just like, Mom, I was like, let's go to your room and talk for a minute. I was like, let's just have a little chat. And so I pulled her in her room and I was like, okay. I said, Mom, I am pregnant. She's like, you're lying. And I said, I wish I was, but I'm not. And she sat there for like a minute and she was like, okay. All right. She hugged me and she was like, honestly, I did not want this for you. Like, no parent, obviously no parent wants their kid to have a child in college, not married, you know, whatever. And she was like, I didn't want this for you, but I love you. And hearing that made it like okay. Like it made everything okay. After I told my mom, I had to kind of kick it into gear. I was like, I'm in a sorority and I'm not sure how that's gonna work. My sorority had a retreat coming up soon, and I had already, like, I knew that I wasn't gonna be there because I wasn't gonna be a part of that anymore, which was so hard for me. It was so hard. I remember texting one of my advisors, and I was like, I'm gonna have to drop. And she was like, okay, well, I would love to, you know, talk with you in person and see if this is really what you want. And it wasn't what I wanted at all, like at all. I was so sad about that, but I felt like I had to. So classes are starting soon. I'm trying to get my life together as much as I can. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to go back to school, a Christian school, and be pregnant. Want to be a part of a sorority and not be anymore. I don't want to go back there. And my mom was like, you're going back to school there. No one can tell you that you can't go to school there because you're pregnant. She's like, I've already looked at the policies. If anybody has anything to say, she's like, send them this because you're going to school there. You're going to finish. I was like, okay, yeah, definitely going to do that. So me being the person that I am, I emailed the president of the university and I said, I'm pregnant and I am not really sure what to do about this and how we're gonna like go about my pregnancy here at school, and like I don't know what I need to do and like all of this. He was telling me that it was gonna be okay and that I would be able to go to college there still. He was like, are you seeing a doctor? Do you need anything? Let me know if you need anything. And I was just like, wow, this is great. Like I was like, this is amazing how they are reacting to all of this, which made me feel better. After I told them, like the important people at the school, I was like, well, we gonna do it. We're going to school. During this whole process, you know, I'm talking to the father and I'm like, okay, I've decided that I'm not gonna get an abortion, but I'd gone like back and forth. Like I was like, I'm getting one, and then I was like, but I don't want to, but I think I need to. I feel like I have to. And he was just kind of fed up with it, which I would have been too, honestly. But he ultimately did not want me to in the beginning, and he stuck by that. And so eventually when I was like, I'm not doing it, he was like, thank God. It was really hard for me to be okay with my pregnancy at first because I didn't want it to be with someone who wasn't fully in love with me and wasn't married to me and didn't have like a life with me. And it just was like, I felt like a failure, basically. I just was like, I suck at life. Like, I'm gonna be another statistic, basically. I just kind of took it day by day, and I prayed a lot, and it was just really hard for me to come to terms with the fact that this isn't perfect, and we all have what we want our lives to look like, what we want our kids to have, and you know, none of this was a part of my plan. And I just prayed and prayed and prayed and prayed and cried and got on my knees and just sobbed to God. Without God and without my friends and the support that I have from my friends and family, I would not be here today telling the story. So I just want to say that, number one, you are not alone if you're going through this. There is help everywhere. You should just really think about your options. It's not the end of the world. And lean on your friends. Do not lean away from them. Tell your family. And I understand that not a lot of people are going to have the support system that I have, and I'm so grateful for that. I'm so grateful that I have family and friends that will help and will be there, and you know, didn't think twice about everything. I have met so many people going through the same thing that I am, and they have reached out to me and said that I have helped them through a lot, and I didn't even know that. Just think about your options because you're not alone, and talk to somebody. Talk to me. I am lucky that me and him are on good terms and that we don't hate each other. I love his family, and that's my story. That's how I ended up here. Thanks for watching. Give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel. Share it. If you have any questions, let me know. If you want any more insight, please come talk to me. See you next time.